2 years ago, News Channel 5 Investigates first raised questions about a relatively new form of birth control called Essure.
Our investigation found women suffering from excruciating pain and other problems that they blamed on the device, and the complaints across the country have only grown in numbers. Tonight, consumer investigator Jennifer Krause has word of a legal challenge that may allow these women to finally go after the manufacturer.
That's right. The thousands of women who have complained about the serious health problems they've suffered because of Essure birth control have had no legal recourse, but that could soon change. 5 lawsuits recently filed against Bayer Healthcare, the manufacturer of Essure, claim the birth control device should never have been approved by the federal government. The permanent birth control is made up of a pair of coils that are inserted into a woman's fallopian tubes. The resulting scar tissue is supposed to prevent conception. But the lawsuits claim the original manufacturer of Essure, Conceptus, committed fraud during the clinical trials of the device. There are allegations that Conceptus underreported adverse events and was involved in, quote, deceptive marketing.
They told me that it was just a really easy procedure, and just a few minutes is all it took.
Kimberly Lyra was one of the women 15 years ago involved in those clinical trials. Until, that is, she says she complained about extreme side effects.
But I reported the excessive pain from day 3, all the way until they dropped me from the study.
These new lawsuits could change the game for thousands of women across the country. You see, when Essure was first granted approval by the FDA back in 2002, it was granted what's known as pre-market approval, which protects the manufacturer from any sort of product liability and prevents consumers from suing the company. But these lawsuits claim that Essure's manufacturer violated the conditions of its pre-market approval, and lawyers argue that the company should no longer be shielded from lawsuits. If the judge allows these cases to move forward, it could eventually clear the way for other women who claim they've been harmed by Essure to sue.
It just felt like somebody was just stabbing you in your lower abdomen area.
2 years ago, when we first reported on health problems associated with Essure, Eva Noss described the intense and chronic pain she'd been living with since she'd had the device implanted.
My cramps from my menstrual cycle literally went from mild to extreme.
And there are more and more women telling similar stories. In the last 2 years, the number of adverse events reported to the FDA, or serious complications or injuries attributed to Essure, has grown substantially from 850 back in 2013 to now more than 5,000. 2 years ago, though, after our first report, the FDA reviewed the complaints and studies on Essure and took no further action, calling the device both safe and effective. And this afternoon, Bayer sent me a statement that said, in part, patient safety is our top priority, and we have great sympathy for anyone who's experiencing pain, regardless of the cause. The company said it is aware of the problems some women have had with Essure, but these women's stories, quote, while compelling, are not representative of the hundreds of thousands of women who have used Essure. You'll find the rest of their statement on our website.
And when might we know about these lawsuits?
The case is being heard by a federal judge in Pennsylvania. We could get a ruling from the judge as early as the end of this month. We'll let you know.
All right. Thanks, Jennifer.